Hi there, it's Sunday, it's match day, and I'm back at Match of the Day, edit producing for tonight's show. United off to Newcastle in today's Premier League late fixture. Just want to say a few things about Andre Onana, who's been apparently dropped for today's game at Newcastle. A sound decision, I think, by Ruben Amorim after those two mistakes in Lyon in the Europa League. And I think it was definitely right for Ruben to take Andre out of the firing line today, because I think United are going to be under the cosh somewhat at Newcastle, and any goals conceded, definitely Onana would be very much in the spotlight again, and I think it's a good decision for him to be taken out at the firing line, certainly for this game. The big decision, of course, is going to be, will he return for the most important game of the season so far, when United have that return deciding game against Lyon on Thursday night at Old Trafford, because that is a game that could decide the destiny of United's season. Certainly it could affect the long-term or the short-term future of Ruben Amorim, because United really have to win the Europa League. If they don't, it's going to make Ruben's job 10 times more difficult, because we're going to really struggle to make the additions to the squad that he wants in the summer if we don't have the money that we'll get from qualifying for the Champions League. I think big decisions by managers are taken at big moments in their career, and I think this decision, whatever happens next with Andre Onana, whether or not he's going to play on Thursday, I do suspect that Ruben has given him a rest with the intention of bringing him back against Lyon. But I'd like to see what happens if his replacement, Altay Bayendo, we expect to play today against Newcastle. What will happen if he has another storming game against Newcastle today? Will he keep his place in the side? I remember 35 years ago when Alex Ferguson made a big call when he dropped Jim Leighton for the FA Cup final replay after that 3-3 against Crystal Palace. Leighton at fault with some of those goals in that 3-3 game against Palace, and he was dropped and fell out with Alex Ferguson because he was dropped for the replay, and United famously won the FA Cup with that goal from Lee Martin, and Alex Ferguson went on to great things. I'm not saying that Ruben Amorim will go on to great things if he drops Andre Onana and we go on to win the Europa League, but it is a big decision that I think will affect Ruben Amorim and United's destiny. So let's see what happens at Newcastle today. I do fear that United are not going to get a result, but I like to live in hope, because I always want to see United win, of course, but I'd happily sacrifice today's result for a win against Lyon on Thursday. But I think the big question we're all going to be asking is, who's going to be playing on Thursday? Who's going to be in goal on Thursday against Lyon? Will it be Andre Onana, or will it be his replacement today against Newcastle? I'd like to think that Onana will be rested a little bit longer, because I do think he's not a bad goalkeeper, and I think a lot of the abuse he's had in the media and on social media has started to affect his play, and he's not a bad goalkeeper because he's had a lot of clean sheets for United in the past. It's just at the moment he's going through a bad run of form, and I think you've got to pick players who are in form. So let's see what happens against Newcastle today, and fingers crossed that whatever happens against Newcastle at St James's Park, United can come out strong against Lyon on Thursday night.